This is indeed a love reading, a love transmission, a love awakening. This isn't about another person. It's about you first. There is another person here, but I'm being guided to let you know this is about you first. This love transmission is about where you're going next because of the love you've given yourself and the loving relationships you've been in the past. This is a real self-reflective piece. This is a real spiritual witch, medicine man, medicine woman, shaman, alchemist, deep socialist, deep anti-socialist, hermit, stoic, loving, kind. Someone who may have never really given much in relationships, never really looked at others in relationships ever as kin, like the one. Okay, there's crushes and desire and want and lust, but there's never been this pure consciousness of love. I know that person loves me and I love them. The ideology grounding this introduction is, I don't even know what love is. What is love? That was the old you, the old energy, the old connections you were in. What dominated all of your relationships in the past was your consciousness that, what even is love? Who am I to say love, use love, embrace love, imply there's love here? I don't know love. I can't define love. So it talks to me about a bitterness, a resentment in the chakras. What's nice across all of my channels, which are all linked at the top of the home page, you'll see scattered around a lot of lifting up of the sacral chakra, a lot of coming into solar plexus energy, a lot of letting go of bitterness, resentment, a lot of people coming out of dark night of the soul, spiritual warfare, psychological warfare. We've been in deep rest energy. There's a shift in the collective. I've seen it from a lot of different readers also on the platform. The energy rising is so interconnected, so synchronistic. Everyone who is awake and in unity, unison. The love is so much bigger than it's ever been. And I say that to say it's not the kind of airy, fairy, passive, light, leftist love that we've been so familiar with to get to this point on the journey. On the spiritual journey, in relationships, as light workers, star seeds, anyone in a position of power who has to be the positive go-getter leader, something beginning with M keeps coming into my head, but I keep crashing into it. It keeps inferring on me. There's some kind of label, a title that someone has, and it's like an honorary label that begins with M. That means you're in a high position. You do so. It's not an MP. It's not MVP. Maybe it's minister. I don't know. There's a something like a M energy, a MVP. But then it makes me think of ministers. It makes me think of CEOs. It makes me think of prosecutors and arbitrators and people in positions of power. Yeah, high power. Medicine man, medicine woman coming through as well. Your name could also begin with an M. Middle name M. Your ex's name's M. Your last name's M. The M's are screaming all over the place right now. Yeah. But what I see is a happy ending of an old way of perceiving what love is. Because the truth is, and you know it, love cannot truly be found until you know what it is, until you can find it inside of yourself. You can't really give love and be in love when you've never even discovered and understood love consciously. You can be in love unconsciously and then eventually wake up and realize, wow, that person was the love of my life. I was so unconscious at the time. So we're not dismissing the polarity on the spectrum of love and consciousness and the dimensions of consciousness and what we all go through spiritually. But we are saying the true reward that love exudes can only be received through knowing. And that's knowing you. That's knowing your vibration. That's knowing your higher self. That's knowing the frequency of love versus hate, the polarity of the two. That's knowing what it means to give and to receive, to be authentic and honest, to not lie. People who cheat in relationships, little white lies, or full-blown affairs. Where does that stem from? Why do you do that? Others who talk down on their partners when their partners are not around. Why do you do that? Where does that come from? It's about understanding who we are, how we show up, how we give our hearts. Some love languages include all the things I've spoken about in dark and light contexts. So there is no infinite solidified construct or narrative of this is the way. It's about the fluidity to explore and try and find. Wisdom is accrued by exploring and experimenting and studying ideologies of love, experiencing love, which leads to experiencing heartbreak, experiencing loss, separation, depression. Have you ever been in love with someone who didn't love you back? Have you ever fallen out of love with someone you were in love with for years? Have you ever pretended to love someone when you never really did? For the benefits, for the rewards? Are you willing to love someone to get ahead in life? Are you willing to pretend you're in love for financial gain? Do you know what love is? Can you explain what love is to you, to your partner or potential love interest? Can your love interest tell you what love is? Define it genuinely in conversation. We often overlook these things. We get pregnant, we get married, we move in together. We have sex unprotected, with no consciousness of the last 9 minutes and 9 seconds of what I've just discussed. We throw the love word around so easily. We procreate, have babies, go out, turn up, fall in love, give each other labels and titles of girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, fiance, husband, wife, without ever exploring these layers. Toxicity spreads from a lack of consciousness. But most of the population are largely unconscious. So they're okay to not understand love, but have 4 different baby fathers that they all claim they loved at the time. Yeah? Baby mothers too. I've got 10 baby mothers. I love them all. They all loved me. It was so important that I got with all of them and had sex with all of them unprotected and breeded. It was part of the journey. Was it really? And you call that love? Where is the education on that? Where is your word on love? Teach us the way, because education is power. I loved him with all of my heart, but I cheated on him many times. I had a full-blown affair. Just because the sex wasn't right. I still love him, but the sex isn't right. So I had an affair. I chose to lie and deceive my partner for many years for sexual gratification. But I still love him. I've been sleeping with her sister for the last 20 years. Even on our wedding night when she fell fast asleep. But I still love her. I still chose her. The word love has very different meaning to different people. So we're going to dive deeper into this. But we've set the foreground for this conversation today. And it's your consciousness that is opening up this reading and going, I've seen love from all aspects and I'm not naive to it. And I refuse to be naive to it because that part of me is dying. And as we go here and we start to open up about what is dying within you, the first vision I'm getting in my head is every other relationship, from colleagues, family members to friends. What I've noticed quite frequently, let me know what you think about this in the comments, okay? Because this is related to your journey specifically. There are a select group of people that separate romantic relationships, sexual relationships, so that's husband and wife, potential spouse, sexual partner, completely remove them from every other kind of relationship. The way that they perceive that relationship, manage that relationship, internalize, give to, expect to receive from that relationship, very different, yeah? Very different numerals, I wanted to say, signifiers, yeah? Very different aspects are surrounding that relationship. Yet, me, spiritualist, shaman, clairvoyant, introvert, hermit, every single relationship, in my opinion, should carry the same blueprint. That relationship, whether it is a colleague, a family member, a friend, a neighbour, a husband, a wife, your children, your grandparents, whatever. The infrastructure, the framework, the blueprint, if it's the same, you're more likely to succeed. That's my belief system, that's what I've learned, and that's what I now decide to advocate for. Because when you look at every relationship as a relationship, then you open up to more dimensions, more moleculars, more opportunity, more aspects, more factors, more influence. There's more places you can go, more things you can do. It's about firstly defining the framework for all relationships. So what are your morals? What are your belief systems? What do you stand for? Yeah? We then break it down. What are you looking for in a partner, a lover? What are you looking for in a neighbour? What are you looking for in a friend? What do you need from a mother? What do you need from your father? What do you need from your boyfriend? What do you need from a husband? What do you need from a fiance? What do you need from a wife versus what you need from a girlfriend? What do you need from your children? What do you need from your manager? What do you need from your employees? Every relationship is valid and important, yet they all carry different attributes. Everyone has their unique love languages. Everyone has their own personality style, archetypes, attributes, beautiful things we all are. The toxicity comes where immediately the ideology of that other, in whatever position we plant them in and whatever label we give them, we put them on a tier list. That person's 10 out of 10, that person's 5 out of 5. If it's your auntie who lives in Beijing that you only see at Christmas, she's not one of your predominant relationships. You're not worrying about her. But the guy that you want to marry and have sex with and have kids with, he's at the front of your mind. That's why you message him every morning and throughout the day and doll yourself up to go out and spend extra money and get all your nails done, your hair done and your eyebrows done to look good for this guy. Have you got the same framework that has allowed your aunt from Beijing to be in, to maintain being that positive support system in your life she is? Because she Zooms you every now and then and she gives you words of wisdom. She sends you money and gifts on your birthday and prays for you, worships with you, puts you up and gives you half of the house when you go out there on holiday, makes the most amazing food you've ever had in your life. Just an example, guys. It's about understanding the value in every relationship you have, not tiering the relationships that are already in your life based on material factors, lustful factors, material wealth, net worth, appearance, clout, what looks good to you. It's about way more than all of that. And that is what hasn't been seen. That's why we're here today. And that's why this reading is happening right now. So welcome aboard. Thank you for opening up this channel and showing me that the collective that do exist on the other side of this screen are conscious enough to want more. And that old version of self, 2 of Cups out with the Death card, is showing I don't want another relationship that is rooted in that lackluster vibration, yet I still pretend it's enough. Or I scale it because their net worth's enough. They look like a supermodel, so it's enough. It's not. And it hasn't been. The sex is great, so I'll stay. If it's only sex keeping you there, it's not keeping you there internally, spiritually, mind, body and soul. Yeah? A lot of people are compartmentalizing their mind, body and soul here. And I keep saying clout, 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 but give me another word other than clout in the comments. Because this isn't someone necessarily chasing clout or the ideology of people just chasing clout. People are looking for kinship. People are looking for other. People are looking to not journey on their own. I am so conscious, and I have been for many, many years as a young hermit, of how much people need to bring someone else into their circumference to feel something. Introvert, always on my own. I'm conscious of what I need to survive. Everyone leave me alone. Let me go into my avatar state, sit here with my legs crossed and channel the chi I need for my survival. Yet I look around and I see everybody else running towards other. And sometimes it is any other. Any other will do. And that is why so many people are blue. I'm not going to go off on a spoken word piece. You can go over to her 7D Consciousness channel for that. Featured at the top of this page. loads of spoken word and rhymes. We're going to stick with the tarot today, but I was about to channel. But we're not going down that route anymore of just picking someone because that's what everyone else is doing. Because I think that you've found true happiness and wholeness in who you are. And I think you know what love is. And I think you know how to celebrate and turn up and have a good time without the clout and the extra. I think you know what true abundance is. I think you know what true wealth is. And I think you've mastered your emotions. From the Two of Cups to the Death card, to the Three of Cups, to the Queen of Cups, to the Two of Pentacles. I've spent most of the time talking to you so far, talking based off the Two of Cups and the Death card. We've moved into the Three of Cups where I've just spoken about where you're at now. Happy, whole, conscious, enjoying life, the ability to celebrate what it means to really, really love, give, be in a healthy relationship, never settle for less, and manage your emotions, open up emotionally, not be numb, not be withdrawn, be integrous, be honest. So now there is this new two. We start with the Two of Cups. Your emotions back and forth. You've always been in your head about these relationships you've been in. You've always been back and forth. No, you knew they were never going to work. You could tell they were never going to work. You might have not have said that, and you might have went in and even deceived yourself at times that they were going to work and it was enough, but you knew what you were looking for. You knew what you were destined for. You knew what you did or didn't want, but you were so in the circumference of that vibration that there wasn't much alternative, and you weren't desiring to go out beyond and seek the alternative route, because you weren't there yet. You hadn't evolved yet. A lot happened to you in the 3D. A lot happened to you. I see passing on, bereavement, endings to business, corporation, potentially losing a house. I get insurance, I get fraud, I get legal cases, financial cases. Could have went to court for a fraud related crime. You could have been wrapped up in legal. Once again, I get politics. MPs, ministers, MVP. You could have got really blasted in the press. Because now I'm getting the idea of what it means to be a basketball player and a man of the match, right? Is what I kind of keep getting in my head more than anything else. But with that, I kind of get the ideology where you fuck up the game and you let the team down, and then you get really hit up in the locker rooms after, and you're stressing about the game that you played, right? And how it didn't go down right. And you've got to take the L for the team, and you feel like the weight's on you. It's one of those kind of sports, yeah? Interesting. Really pissed off about how things went down in the team. And although the team didn't blame you and no one else blamed you, there's like a community of backlash I see around someone. And I see maybe someone never really spoke on it, but the trauma has kind of existed in you and it's triggered you a lot. And I feel like someone had really noticed that when you're not the cloutiest best player and how you get treated when you're man of the match versus when you're the one that made everyone lose the game. If you want to look at it like that way, you didn't, but you're getting played as that character who made your team lose. You see who is or isn't around you. The champagne's not popping when you lose, right? The girls are not all around you shaking their fat asses when you lose. Unless you pay them. And I think it's if you're a high flying baller, yeah, it's the wake up call of what your life looks like when you're flashing the cash and you're flossing and you're showing up and giving to the women, and they'll be everything you want. They'll do everything you want, and they'll look perfect for you. They'll smile for you. They'll bend over in the right way for you, and they'll be the perfect woman because they're playing that role. They're getting that bag. They want that coin. And when you haven't got that coin to give, or you're not in that mood and you're genuinely low and genuinely sad, you can't get reprieve. You can't release. There's nothing that they can do for you. Because at that moment, you don't want sex. You don't want an orgasm. And that's all you've ever programmed these women around you to do. This is the best example I can give you, and this is the vision I got in my head, and this is the M that was chasing me at the early part of the reading, which was that MVP baller energy. So we're holding it there. If you're a baller, then more specific for you. But in my head, as I'm saying this story, the other vision that I'm getting is a story of a black African football player in the UK who had everyone around him, loved him. I can't remember what happened to him in the press. I think he had like blonde dreadlocks as well. I can't tell you his name, but he fell off. He was also married at the time, yeah? He fell off, lost everything, and he lost everything, including his wife. The popularity that people have is the point. To lose it all. You see how fickle people are, and you see what love really, really is. People, this is what we're learning today. Most people do not love you for who you are inside. They love what you represent and can do for them outside. Okay? Most people. There are rare breeds on this planet. You clearly are one of them. That's why we're having this higher intellectual conversation today. Well done for restoring my faith in humanity, because most people are cunts, wankers, dickheads, arseholes, liars, deceivers, decepticons, waste men, fuck boys, fuck girls, fake lying cap addicts who have no fucking heart and no morality. I'm so sorry, but it's true. That's why we go on spiritual journeys. That's why we do what we do. That's why we become hermits, because we try and nurture and nourish ourselves as much as we can when we are living in environments that are less than sustainable, based on stereotype, cloudy levels of acceptance, virality, the perceptions of what is the way based on materialism and social status. When it really comes down to it, most people value what you do for them because that's what they see. I'm not even screaming you should be hard done by that, or we should feel hard done by that, because that's programming. You have to give to receive. You have to show up and present and speak and be you for people to know who you are. But people like you for a reason. People choose you for a reason. People become fans of you for a reason. People fall in love with you for a reason. Yeah? That's why we all get trapped in this cycle and causal loop of playing this role or character and become stereotypical in life, because we are trying to keep up with that vibration we've exuded in the past that made other people love us. You go into a relationship, right? And you start off being this ideal version of what you think that this man or woman wants, and you go into it and you give all of that. And if you're really good at it, you start to become that version of self to accommodate them. And it's beautiful and it's a give and a take. But in certain instances where you've created this need to be what they want so badly, when it's so far removed away from who you really, really are, the cracks will show and things will start to crumble. So if you've built up this premise, this ideology that you are really stable and strong and you're not emotional and you're prepared to cook every day and clean every day and be the one at the home with the kids, or you're the one to go and make all the money and you're the strong one who has no breakdown or no emotions, the day's going to come where you're going to break down and have an emotion. The day's going to come where you're not going to want to cook a fucking meal again. The day's going to come where you're not going to want to be responsible for these kids. You're not even going to look at these fucking kids that you've been raising for God knows how long. Sick of being a parent and taking the brunt of the parent role in the house. But you get stuck in a rut. And you perceive reality to be one-tiered, one way. So you keep going down that path. And here we go. Evolution, destiny, the muggle reality. Now we must all settle down by 30 years old, get a mortgage, spend the rest of our lives paying off our mortgage. And when we get to later in life and we reach retirement, a day will come where we will say, guess what? We've just cleared our mortgage. We've had a great life. Which is the status quo and a great life for so many people that I actually do know. So I don't say that in a negative way, but to anyone who's more spiritually evolved beyond that, who seeks to be a millionaire, a billionaire, or not even views money from a much higher altitude than that. Sees wealth and abundance and liberation and freedom beyond the confinements of an area code and a mortgage. The expansion of life beyond what is seen as the mundane muggle reality. That's what we're talking about here, because this is the journey we all kind of go on here. We're talking about that for you. We're talking about a relationship that you've been in, that, okay, maybe in your lifetime, your net worth would have been at 500k. And that's me being nice, okay? The muggle reality and your net worth and your investments and everything that you've accrued in your life before today, before whatever shifts happened to you, you were looking at an absolute net worth or the amounts of 100k being massively influential for you. Your savings have 100k. When you die, you're leaving your kids 100k. You're leaving your kids 50k when you die. How amazing is that? That was your old reality. Before you even got to the 50k reality and the 100k reality, you was at the 10k reality. You was at the 5k reality. One day I'll leave my kids 5k and that would be great. I've only got two. Both of them get a 2,500 each. Nice, right? We're using money as the example here, but can you see the evolution of self? The achievement of your manifestation, the evolution of your goals and dreams. That's what we're talking about today in relation to love. So in that same example, from the 5k to the 10k to the 100k to the 500k to the millions, billions and trillions that we foresee now, that's a frequency in love. And that's where we're heading towards. And that comes from evolution. And that comes from hard work and dedication. That comes from transmuting Two of Cups, emotional, deep, heartfelt connection, into Two of Pentacles, a grounded, tangible interaction. Yeah? Very different energy from the water to the earth. That's what we're talking about. This is true love. This is grounded and beautiful. This is rich in abundance. This is how you become the MVP of your life, for real. This is how you do it. Because most relationships stay in the infantile phase of Two of Cups. And there's that annoying thing that your husband always does, annoying thing that your wife always does, the little cracks in the relationship that lead to cheating, lies, deceit, the bullshit, the frequency of dark matter that exists in the connection, in any relationship as well, because when we talk about this, although I go back to husband and wife, let's keep an open mind about every relationship that hits the dark and light scale. Your parents that lie to you. Yeah? The children that lie to you. The colleagues, the managers that lie to you, that treat you like shit, that lift you up, that give you a promotion that you deserve, or that prevent you from being promoted. Yeah? Across the board, there is a spectrum of that. And what I see here, for whoever's connecting with this today, is it's the awakening of you really have made something happen in your life. Tangibly, because of this. And I know it feels really, really long. I'm looking at the last 5 years specifically here as well. I know it may seem like a really, really strenuous road. I know that you could have had relationships in 2022 that proved who you really, really were. And I think from 2022, 2023, you really started to dive into the self a lot more, because the awakening was there about what you needed to ground. Yeah. Prior to 2022, I think you were so unconscious and so living in the moment and consumed by stereotypes, conformity, muggle ideologies in relationship. You weren't even conscious enough to break that curse, if we want to be a bit harsh with it. But the curse of just being in a relationship for being in a relationship, being this way in connections. From as young as you can imagine, your first ever relationship, the first time you ever had a kiss, the first time you ever had sex, the first time you went on a date, the first time you moved in with someone, they're all milestones. And it worked up into a point there. So you keep that same rule book, that same blueprint, that same infrastructure, that same plan. So you get into a new relationship, but you still exhibit the same kind of behaviors from your old relationship. The stuff that you do sexually in your new relationship, you probably do that in your old relationship. Sorry, I'm going to get a bit dirty because it's coming to my head and I've got to say it. But okay, I'll keep it clean. Oral activity. How did you learn to do those oral activities? And there's a lot of conversation to be had about oral. We'll have to have this conversation on hermitology.me. We'll do a body part series and we'll dive a little bit more into these conversations. But the reason I'm saying that is because the way you learn to pleasure someone is from your experience of pleasuring someone. So you're going to take your skills that you've got from all your exes of how you made them orgasm to then attempt to use that to make your new person orgasm. Do you get it? And it's not the end of the world because we all learn, but you're bringing traits and behaviours and skill sets with you from the past. And sometimes they could be seen as attractive or unattractive. Right? So much more I want to say. I'm going to pause because we've got other places to go today. But do check out hermitology.me and the body part series, and be aware that we are going to dive deeper into some more conversations over there regarding sex and a little bit of sex therapy, I guess, sex healing, sex magic, sex consciousness I like more than anything else. Sex talk, how about that? Body parts and sex and the significance of it all. How about that? So as we keep going in this reading, I want to go in on the Two of Pentacles specifically, okay? I want to be able to understand the journey that has brought you to where you're at now. I'm just pulling out a few more cards to just assess where you're at. Yeah. Really nice. You have a lot more control in your life now than you've ever had in your life, I want to say as well, which is really, really gorgeous. Where you're at now is, it seems to me you've done like this overhaul of your life and every relationship you've had, and you've assessed what was or wasn't a hindrance in your past relationships, and that's all kinds of relationships. And as a result, you have been able to literally walk on water to get away from any imbalance. Yeah, because this is quite a magical rising, whoever I'm connecting with, because no one would expect you to be able to do what you've done. You've broken a serious curse that was tethered to you, because you didn't want to be the status quo of this situation. You didn't want to be the conformity factor of this story, of this narrative in this dimension. You chose consciousness over everything else. And as a result, that drove you into isolation, depression, psychotic episodes, yeah? Emotional despair. There's so much more conversations to be had on this platform, this channel specifically, and hermitology.me, about mental health and what it really means to be spiritual. When I say psychotic, I say that loosely, knowing you may even be diagnosed with a mental illness, or you may have perceived yourself to have a psychotic break or be mentally ill. But I'm clairvoyant and I'm doing this now. And I assume that you're still listening to this because it resonates and it connects, and I'm connecting with you. So how's that possible? Yeah? Mental health changing in major ways. Elon Musk's Neuralink telepathy chip is a prime example of that. My ability to be clairvoyant and see people from the other side makes me totally dissociate from the DSM-5 TR, which outlines what is or isn't mental disorder. Because if they can't clarify clairvoyance and mediumship and psychic mediums, and they've been burning witches for centuries, then I am not going to sit around and play stupid and give my sense of self over to a manual that says I am less than normal and this in a tick box format. So I wouldn't want that for you. But we say the word psychotic with our fingers doing what they do, going psychotic, as they say. But it's not that. The way our brains operate and work are so beautiful when they're allowed to operate and work. And I see that you've been able to work your way through what's been dark night of the soul, really, really toxic, really, really disturbing. You could have had visions, epiphanies. You could have had demonic thoughts, evil visions, like in your mind's eye. But there's a dark side and a light side. I've got so much content. I don't know the videos specifically, but I do talk specifically about what it means to be possessed by a dark spirit and jinn versus connecting with a past and loved one from the other side who comes through with positive energy. So if you want more of those conversations, let me know. But my point is, I'm just saying, El Negati Camille. That's what I'm saying, yeah? I'm saying I see you and I understand, and I wouldn't want you to carry a burden of having a mental health diagnosis and feeling shunned or awkward about that, or fearing relationships as well because of that, and the episodes that you kind of have. I'll use Kanye West as an example here quickly. The stuff that he went through with Kim Kardashian, and the way he's seen in the press now, and the fact that he still keeps having episodes, I think it is devastating in today's society that a man like that could spiral all this way and still not recover properly, and still not be given the interventions and the mental health he needs to be where he's at today, because he's an incredibly influential black figure in today's society, I want to say on earth. It is disgusting that mental health support is so shit, so low par, that the likes of Kanye can still be broken to the degree at which he is. And he can be labelled as bipolar, and we all get on with our day, and we think that that's okay, but it's not. Because all it takes is someone with expertise, and I could be wrong, but he's rich, so I would assume that there would be some healthy intervention along the way. There hasn't been. The man's rich, and from a very simple overview and diagnostics from me as the hermitologist, looking at his life, getting brought into the Kardashian family network, him doing all the stuff he did musically, the clout that followed him, the acceleration in his virality, his popularity, the death of his mother that he was going through for that window of time, the death of others around him too, like the directive, the director of Yeezy, creative director, fashion, Virgil, all of these events, they trigger your psyche. They impact your chakras and your nervous system. The man has been hit, 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 hit. And what do? We diagnose him with bipolar and we say, there you go, take medication. Oh, you're having an episode. It's a manic episode. It's depression. It's this. It's that. I don't believe a word of that nonsense. The man has severe trauma across the board in multiple different ways. He doesn't even need medication. He needs to unpack every single one of these trauma parcels and deal with it. Deal with it from a really unique perspective based on his internal overview of it. And he needs to self-reflect and analyze every aspect of what's gone on, go into deep trance with self and do the inner work and merge it with the Two of Cups to the Four of Pentacles to heal through every single one of these toxic cycles that is his karmic duty in this lifetime and why he was put here. But we seem to overlook all of that and try and just get a clinical answer. And the man can't recover and he's acting out, doing even worse stuff now and spiraling even more because no one seems to understand what mental health really is and what inner work really looks like. And everyone's intimidated by mental health and scared to even have that kind of conversation. Because who knows how he's going to behave or what he's going to say or how he's going to react. Is he going to scream? Is he going to shout? Is he going to hit you? Are you going to be under attack? People that are deemed mentally ill are put in asylums for a reason. People are scared of them. They lock you in a box, in a padded cell and put you in a straitjacket. Do you get what I mean? People are intimidated to have the conversation. And it goes to the point where some people will fucking shit and throw it at you. Smear shit all over your face if their hands are free. Spit in your face, bite you, stab you, try to kill you. I mean, mental health is very serious on a spectrum. But mental health is mental health. And we all have a mental that needs to be healthy. So we need to be able to identify when our mental isn't working right and when there are triggers that are hitting our mental. And how we repair our mental every time we get triggered and get hit. Can't stab someone 20 times and just keep looking at them like they're going to make it. He needs to be sewn up. He's got wounds. He's got shrapnel. Someone fix him. Come on. We need to look at mental health like we look at any other fucking wound or a kind of health issue. Chemotherapy for cancer. We need to reduce the tumour. We do have invisible mental health tumours, yeah? People can really recover from every single mental illness on this planet, perceived as. And any kind of neurodiversity on the spectrum, which is not necessarily a need to heal, but a need to align on the spectrum and find safe passage, yeah? Reduce. And be able to self-assess, scale, manage themselves on a continuum. Be fluid. Understand their dynamics with self and other. And the other side, which is constantly an inference on reality, jinn, spirit, nervous system, energy, chi, chakras, oneness, light, dark, XY chromosomes, blood, red blood cells, white blood cells, hemoglobin. Because that is the only way we evolve. And that is exactly what has gone on here. The cold version of you, King of Swords, has died. And now you get to move on. For real. For the first time in your life, I feel as well, because I feel like there's always been this kind of blockage in relationships. I want to say blockade, where that love just wouldn't get any further down the line with you, no matter how much they tried. I'm getting encouraged to share a little bit on the way out, okay, as we wrap this up now. Because all my life, right, I'm 37, single at this time, right? Building a massive business. Go to hermitology.me, link in the description, so you can check out everything I've been doing. If you hear my story and read the pieces that are available on the website, on the press section, prospectus preview, and other random bits that might pop up, you'll understand that since I've been 16 years old, my focus and interest has been in my career. My drive and determination and what I wanted for my life was fixated on achieving something for myself. It was very, very important to me from a very young age to establish myself uniquely. So where love, relationship, having children fitted into that was very, 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 very far removed. So from 16 to 26 to 36, the priority has always been my career. So yes, I've dated since I've been 16. Yes, I've dated and been in relationships of different kinds. Same sex, men, but I mean different kinds in regards to different personalities, different whatever. Like, I've experimented, I've experienced life in relationships, but all of them, is the point here, were kept at bay with the King of Swords because my priority was my career. So although there were times where I felt like I was in love and I would say I loved that person, right? I still had my career as my focus. I still was looking for someone to align with my career, or I still needed more than enough space to maintain my career, and I still needed distance to prioritize my career. So no matter how we shaped it or sliced it, it was my career that was my love. So then we open up a can of worms about love that isn't in human form. Because what I love most is hermitology. That is the love of my life, hermitology. I love it with every ounce of me. It means the world to me. It's the most important thing in my life. It's the most important relationship I have. And it's not another human. But that's true love to me. And that is what I have committed to for as long as I can remember. And that's what my life has been dedicated to. So I know that that's a situation for you. And I know you have something in your life that you've dedicated decades to. And I think you have finally got a place in your life. And I know this is confirmation of this Eight of Swords coming out, okay? So the World card's come out with the Death card, with the Two of Cups again. And it's just saying, you really have closed out this old cycle. And you've really merged energetically with yourself. And then the card that kind of screams psychosis for me in this deck, which is actually the Five of Swords and the Five of Cups with the Three of Cups, is now sitting with the Eight of Swords. So that's talking to me directly about you not having fear about your mental health and how you're perceived by others. I think in relationships, like I talk out loud, yeah, quite a lot. And I do weird things. I like, in my opinion, I call myself weird outrightly. So I'm not really, I'm just a bad bitch. But, you know, to make other people feel more comfortable with the bad bitch activity I exude, I'll say it. I'll say, yeah, I'm weird. Don't mind me, because I'm talking to myself and I'm living my best life and I've got no problem with it. Yeah. But I see the Eight of Swords with this. Whatever you do, you're comfortable with it. This is my example as well. I'm named the Hermitologist for a reason. I didn't realise how significant a name like Hermitologist was until now, as we head towards the cyborg department. Didn't really process it. And obviously, I love Rick and Morty, and I think I'm Rick. I think I'm this crazy, mad hatter scientist with my goggles on and something about to explode. I love this ideology of life. Making fucking UFOs and alien tech is the absolute dream at this point, along with everything else I do here, with the spiritual element really feeding into all of this. But the fear of being that, the fear of me being who I am today was so massive. The fear of me building hermitology, the fear of me speaking on the things I've spoken about in this audio and other audios I have across the platforms, the fear was so high. The fear that people wouldn't believe me as a psychic medium or clairvoyant, the fear of even speaking about what I see as a psychic medium or clairvoyant, the fear of getting into a relationship and being tethered to someone without my business being where it needs to be, having to sacrifice my business to be in this relationship, to play myself down. As a woman, it's quite hard as well. Let me know in the comments what the stereotypes were for you, keeping you tethered to a certain way of being in order to maintain a relationship that you knew wasn't it for you anyway. Because if I stayed in some of these relationships, this business would have never made it. I wouldn't be here today. I would have had to sacrifice this business for these relationships. Many people would have rathered me sacrifice this business for the relationship with them. That includes family and friends as well, and other. So it's about the fact that you've pushed through the fear factor, Eight of Swords, and got to a place where you are emotionally sound, and then we've got happy ending and karmic completion. We've got the 10 coming out with the 12. So we've got 12, 10, 1, 2, 1, 0. Check the description now and you will find the meaning for 1, 2, 1, 0. Pulling on Joanne Scribe's angel numbers, which are a classic available online. You can just type in Joanne Scribes and any number. The 1210 tells you not to be hindered by old habits that need to be changed. It tells you to look to new experiences with optimism. I mean, that's synchronicity, isn't it? Everything we're speaking about. And trust that they will bring about favourable and positive effects and wonderful new opportunities. A positive attitude helps with achieving goals and aspirations and allows for the old to be replaced by the new. That's why I love angel numbers. I love how they connect. And I love how I've just pulled on that really quickly in the moment with you. And it's telling us exactly what we've just spoken about. The World card's out twice. The King of Swords is out. The Queen of Swords is out. The Eight of Swords is out. A lot of cups are out as well. 2 of Cups, 3 of Cups. Queen of Cups. 5 of Cups and 2 of Cups again. The Ace of Pentacles is also coming out with the 3 of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles, okay? Temperance at the bottom of the deck. On the way out, the only thing I really want to say to you is the Ace of Pentacles is talking about a new beginning. The 3 of Pentacles is talking about building this life that you want for yourself now. And the Knight of Pentacles is slow and steady wins the race, okay? So we've gone from the 2 of Pentacles that I said, let me clarify and pull some more cards on. And from that, we've pulled up with the Ace, the 3, and the Knight, all of Pentacles. Just confirming you are well on your way now. and you are ready to have a tangible new beginning in love. What do you love as well? Because this is so sexy and so empowering and so lovely in a non-sexualized way. This is sacral acceptance energy. This is you being in your power, and this is you loving your career, your craft, who you are, where you're going. Like, all I've ever wanted in my life, right, without getting cheesy at the end and emotional about it, is love that is just effervescent and natural and easy and genuine. Love that I haven't got to try to live up to. Love that isn't based on this specific notion of giving and receiving. But I want to be me. I want to be me all the time. Sorry, I'm so selfish if that's a problem for you, because all I really want is to be me. So I'm going to need to know that in any relationship I get in, I can be so me. And that's the good, the bad, and the ugly every single day of the week, 24/7. And I need to know that you're going to be okay with that. And I'm going to need you to know that I go through a plethora of emotions, like the Pluchek will. Yeah? The Pluchek emotions will. I go through emotions. I'm a human. I like to live and experience life for real. So I need somebody who's willing to live and experience life with me and not hold me to this standard of being a certain way. And I wanted to say, leave me, pull away, pull out, give up under specific circumstances that could be related to material wealth, or how lovely and nice I am, or what I do, or what they deem I do or don't want. Like, it has to be transparent. It's what I'm talking about is near impossible, because you're talking about such fluidity, such integrity, such honesty, yeah, especially coming off the back of closing out a lot of relationships that didn't meet this standard. But I did say the other day in another reading, if your standards are too high for someone, then your standards are too high for someone. Simple as that. That person said your standards are too high, then your standards are too high for them. Next. Sorry to be rude, but next. Your standards are too high. Okay, then you're not there with me then. We're not aligned. Simple. It's not the end of the world. But the relationships that I do see that are the most successful, the most prosperous, the most enjoying, the most aspirational, the most loving, and the most what I would like to see more of on this planet are the ones that are just, you are so you, and they are so them. And together you are so one. At peace, whole, happy, genuine. You don't have to force yourself in their vibration. You don't have to force yourself out of their vibration. It's not an overgive or an over-receive. It's not an awkward back and forth. It's not an and ah. It is what it is. Yeah, we all have those relationships at some point in our life as well. A best friend, a schoolmate, a colleague, your work wife or husband. Those kind of relationships that you randomly get, and that person's just a vibe, and you vibe with them and you connect with them. It's those kind of relationships that are just so fluid and easy that you kind of take for granted sometimes. Because I know you could probably think of a handful of relationships that you've had in the past that were not really significant at the time, but the fluidity and the authenticity and the honesty and your ability to be 100% you in those connections, although they may not have lasted, it could have just been someone from here, there, or anywhere that you worked with for a few years, or that you grew up with at this window, a time you went to school with or college with, whatever. It was just so easy. And that's because there's this energy that you meet people with at the beginning. And it's your ability to hold space for that energy to be true, rich, genuine, authentic, yeah? When I talk about rich, I'm talking about rich in a way of just, I want to talk about hues and saturation and gradient, like the quality is rich, is quality, yeah? You want to push for quality in relationships. over quantity. Prioritize quality, and that's where we're at now. Your life is full of quality. And obviously there are going to be people that come and go, and people that you've let go of, because we all like better quality in life, and we all should be evolving to increase our quality and improve our quality of life. So as you improve your quality of life, anyone else who isn't improving their quality of life will fall off. And that's what's happened here. And that's my consciousness in regards to hermitology and what I've built. It was, these relationships are not going to be able to stand the test of time, really, because I need to keep evolving. I'm going to keep on studying. I'm going to be more intellectual. I'm going to be more outspoken. I'm going to be more present and purposeful and outspoken in these areas. And this partner or this relationship is not really going to survive that. This relationship can't really find legs out of this dimension, out of this premise. There is no stable ground or stable footing for this. So we prioritize and we choose, and everyone's doing that all the time. That's why we get people cheating in relationships and multiple baby mothers, and you've all got how many kids? You've got 4 kids that are 4 months apart, because everyone's testing out where their quality of life resides. Some of us are doing that from a spiritual standpoint, a psychological standpoint, an honourable standpoint. Others are doing it through wham bam, thank you ma'am, let's all have sex and not protect ourselves and not think. And that's the extremities. That's the 2 ideologies I can give you. That's the easiest to show you what it means to be not conscious at all about what you're doing with your body and your energy and creating life willy-nilly, literally, you know. Which I am a developmentalist and I've worked with children for years, so I always advocate for children being raised in healthy, prosperous environments where they have an opportunity to flourish. The rich and elite will argue over and over again about how the world is lacking human, and that we need to keep populating. So Elon will scream, fuck everyone in sight and get pregnant, you know, which is understandable. We need Earth to be full of humans. But I really do worry about all these humans that are going to be arse broke on the floor struggling. 4 generations, 5 generations, 6 generations, 7 generations, all living in one house. No quality of life. And I really hate the ideology that so many people have sex, create child, without ever really considering what it really takes to raise a child. No money, no house, no nothing. But you're bringing a child into this world, or another child into this world. You don't know this person. You're not in love. There's no stable ground for this child. You limit a child's life so quickly when you don't consider that. Children deserve so much more. They're the future generations. And they are going to have it so much harder in the future if we are not working to make sure that when you have a child, you have money saved for your child. You have a roof over your head for your child. Your child needs money from you for 18 years from the time that they are born. How are you going to provide for that child for 18 years? Or is that child going to have a father? Because the moment you're a single parent, your likelihood for success reduces. Who's going to provide for that child? And I say that to say this. Government is shifting in major ways. The money that government have, the support that government has, the money, the borrowing figures, the debt of government is so high right now already. Government can't do what they've been doing for the people in the past. The human is getting squeezed more and more and more and more and more, and they will. So a lack of consciousness and a desire just to pop out babies left, right and centre without a roof over your head and savings somewhere can guarantee that that child's going to struggle somewhat. and have a really difficult life. And it's different because I love a hippie life, and I love the idea of living in a caravan, in a truck, and living in a field, and having no money, because you can survive. You can live in a tent, you can live in a caravan, and you can live off the land, and you can nourish yourself in your own ecosystem, in your own homestead, but that's still the bare minimum. Have you got a piece of land? Have you got sustainable green to eat? Protein included, carbohydrates included, because you need a nutritional balanced diet. Have you got a safe place to go to the toilet and have clean running water, bare minimum? Electricity if you need it. Emergency outside contact if you need it. The ability to pick up and move and travel if you need it. Yeah? Because you don't need a lot of money, but you need a stable life. More and more kids are going to end up going to the state. Foster care. Adoption. Foster care services are really awful as well at this time, in my opinion. Not a lot of people are doing foster care for the foster care. They're doing it for the foster care check. And that's also sad. And there has been increasing scandal and abuse cases coming from foster homes as well, relating to a range of factors, from disability to race and ethnicity. So there are scary elements to the future that we have to consider. And I guess we'll talk more about some of this stuff on hermitology.me. But until then, I'm going to send you love, light and healing energy, and ask that you share your perspective on today's reading in the comments. Tell me more. Let me know. What have you learned? What have you seen? What do you understand now? Where are you going? What are you manifesting? Fuck it, I hate that word. What are you manifesting? We're so beyond that dimension as well. It's not about what we're manifesting at all, is it? What have you discovered? What have you learned? What have you found? What will you investigate next? What are you establishing? What have you grounded? What is your sustainable passage now? What is love? Who are you in the grand scheme of things, in line with your higher self? And how will you continue to make sure that your life is prosperous and sustainable? Let me know, light beings. Love and light.